The Transformers Unlimited. Fan-made headcanon by Alberto M.T. This is a demo reading of Chapter 1, The Rise of the Megatron. On the far reaches of the galaxy there lies a planet, Cybertron. It is made of living metal and extraterrestrial robotic beings known as Cybertronians. This life is not as we know it. These intelligent robots could think and feel as we do. Their ways of life are powered by an ancient artifact created by a creature known as the Quintessence, called the All-Spark. It is the Earth year 1924, and a faction known as the Autobots take the thrones of Cybertron's government. Previously, a ruthless monarchy ruled the planet, but now taken by a civil council put in place to protect the Cybertronians from certain evils. The civil council were known to Cybertron as the Primes. They began as 11, but they had 2 more seats to fill. The Primes at first consisted of Prima, Alpha Trion, Nexus, Vector, Solus, Amalgamus, Maximo, Alchemist, Onyx, Micronus, and Quintus. Rising to take one of the seats was an Autobot factory worker named Orion Pax. Orion Pax was a noble and optimistic bot who aspired to be a great prime among the civil council of Cybertron. Aside from his factory work on space bridge parts, Orion would participate in Autobot boot camps and training exercises for bots looking to be one with the elite guard. He was skilled and went up in the ranks, enough to begin to be noticed by the Primes. On the other side of Cybertron, a Cybertron mining bot on Kaon, named D16, would participate in gladiator fights, and he himself was also noticed, but by only one Prime, Maximo. Maximo was surprised by D16's will and might, and tried to make his own decisions without the acknowledgments of the other Primes. One fateful day, Maximo flew out to Kaon to meet D16. Chapter 1.1, A New Prime. Maximo's ship lands in front of the Colosseum of Kaon. Minor bots stop their practices and they approach the ship in confusion and curiosity. Maximo steps out from his ship, led out by his servants. I wish to speak to Kaon mining bot D16, Maximo demands. The minor bots stay and stare at each other, wondering who Maximo referred to. I know he is one of your clan, a great fighter with abnormal strength that he shows in your little gladiator battles, Maximo continues. We are looking for a new seat among the Primes. We need someone who's fearless, strong, powerful, and I have reason to believe that this D16 fits the position most perfectly. The minor bots stay silent until D16 finally steps forward. I am D16, he answers. Good, there you are. Come along now, Maximo orders. Wait, D16 exclaims. You speak of power and great strength, but how do I know I am truly worthy to be one of your civil council? Maximo stares back at D16. Because I determined it myself. I am a prime for Primus' sake. I should know what I think is good for the civil council. Maximo kneels down to come closer to face with D16. Leave this life behind, for what you will do with us could allow you to protect your planet and your people with great honor. Don't waste your talents on a simple life when you could use them for something meaningful. D16 thinks about his path ahead. He is enticed. He feels sold, but he feels hungry for the power he's offered. I'll do it. D16 agrees to the offer. I will join your civil council as a prime, if I truly get what you ask of me. Maximo stands back up. If it's not what you like, you may leave and return to this life as you wish. D16 steps aboard the ship with Maximo, and they fly off. You're going to need a new tag, Maximo tells D16. A simple classification and number tag won't do in the Hall of the Primes. What do you suppose I can be called? D16 asks. Maximo squints his optic sensors. I used to have a brother. You reminded me of him. Yeah? And who was he? Maximo puts his hand on D16's shoulder. Megatronus. Maximo's ship lands back at Nova Chronum, Cybertron's council city. Megatronus is taken into the council building, and he walks down the main hall with Maximo. Who was this original Megatronus? He asks. My brother? Maximo replies. They call him the Fallen. He gave his spark fighting the previous monarchy so that we of the Civil Council could take over Cybertron. Walking down the hall, Maximo and Megatronus come across Solus Prime. She stops the two in their path. Maximo? Who is this bot you bring to our chambers? Solus asks. Solus! This is our new candidate for one of our remaining seats. Meet Megatronus, formerly Kaon Mindbot D16. Have you run this by Prima? Solus seems skeptical. It is a surprise for Prima. You see, in Megatronus I see a fierce and leading spark, Maximo explains. He doesn't seem fit for the Matrix. Solus puts her fists on her hips. Oh, you crow with skeptics, Solus, you'll see. Let me speak with Prima now. I assure you, he'll be glad to know I found a potential right to the seat. Maximo persuades. You're such a con, Max. Solus walks off. What do you mean I'm a potential candidate? Megatronus asks in his own skepticism. Maximo kneels in front of Megatronus again. I may have kept my search a bit of a surprise for the Civil Council, but worry not, Megatronus. You are a gift to the Civil Council. Megatronus is brought forth into the Civil Council seating hall, where Prima sits alone, working on digital forms and governmental orders. Prima, my good friend, Maximo introduces himself to the room. Prima lifts his head from his work. What's of high importance at this cycle, fellow liege? I bring to you a candidate for one of the two seats we've discussed to fill. Maximo presents Megatronus. What is that? Prima asks. Megatronus, formerly D16, a fierce fighter, leader, and capable of a seat in the Civil Council. Maximo sells. You think that is capable of being a Prime? Prima stands confused. Oh, give him a chance, Prima. You know we need a few more hands to rule with us. We don't rule, Max. We govern. Yes, and who best to help than Megatronus here? Just because you named him after the Fallen doesn't make him a replacement for him. It's not that. I only gave him a fitting and proper name. The name of a Prime. You can't just pick any bot off the street. Prima waves his writing utensil towards Megatronus. But he's not just any bot, Prima. I've seen his work. He can fight. He can destroy. Primus forbids something happens to our beautiful planet of Cybertron. He can lead a whole team of defense. Cybertron can defend itself as a whole if it needs to. You don't know that. Really? Prima stands up. Maximo feels a slight sliver of intimidation. You don't make all the decisions in this council, Maximo. You are already our own head of war operations, but even then, we have no war to fight. Stick to your other tasks, and let the rest of us decide who's worthy of a seat. This is a waste of time, Megatronus says. You sold me on a great opportunity, but deceived me into processing that I'd truly receive something. You can take me back to Kaon. 5 cycles. Maximo urges Prima. 5 cycles of what? Prima responds as he sits down to continue his work. 5 planetary cycles for Megatronus to prove himself worth of a seat. I object. Oh, but you must at least see what he can do. Don't give him any proper governmental work that he doesn't know how to handle. Let him take an internship to my studies and work so he may learn what it means to be a Prime. A learning experience for this young bot, if you may. Primus stops to process. Go talk to Alchemist about this. If this is your true intention. If not, take this minor bot back to Kaon, where he belongs, so he can do something he's more familiar with doing. Yes. Thank you, Prima. Maximo bows down to Prima. He then takes Megatronus to Alchemist Prime's quarters and offers him the same deal. Attempting to get Maximo out of his quarters to leave him be, he simply answers, Sure, I couldn't give a regard to it. I have other important things to worry about than the 2 seats. Just make sure he doesn't get in the way. Oh, thank you. Maximo puts his hands together and bows. I promise I won't disappoint. But what shall become of the last seat? Alchemist smirks at Maximo. If I were to go by anything related to how Prima processes things, I'd say, not to any other bot, you sweep into your own rotary servos. Now get out of my quarters, I have more important things to do. Maximo turns to Megatronus on their way out. Now you have it. You are on your way to become a Prime, a fearless ruler among all of us. Suddenly, another Prime runs down the hall. Quintus Prime. He stops by Maximo and Megatronus and relays to him some important news. Maximo! It's good I found you! I have an emergency! Quintus cries out. What's wrong? Maximo becomes frantic. The Iacon Skyport Tower. It's on fire and it's about to collapse. Reports say there are still bots inside. Maximo turns quickly to Megatronus. Now's your time, Megatronus. Your time to shine and be worthy of your seat. It's here. Maximo, Megatronus, and Quintus run out of the Civil Council building. Megatronus, what's your ult? Maximo asks. Megatronus transforms into a Cybertronian mining tank. Good. Try to keep up. Maximo transforms into a large Cybertronian airship and blasts off towards Iacon City. Quintus transforms into a Cybertronian cargo rocket and blasts off right behind Maximo. Megatronus follows on his own towards Iacon. Iacon's city skyport tower is engulfed in flames. Local Cybertronians stand around, hoping their friends would make it out online. Maximo and Quintus arrives, and Megatronus arrives minutes later behind them. He transforms and runs over to them. What is this tower? He asks them. Well, it used to be the Skyport Tower, a place for flying bots to land and rest when they're traveling from long distances. There are 8 of them on the planet, about to be 7. But the tower doesn't matter, the bots inside do, Quintus responds. Doesn't Cybertron have a first response team? Megatronus questions. Maximo smiles and pats Megatronus on the back. It does now. Get in there and see what you can do, tough guy. You mining bots were made with hard shells. You should survive for a hot cycle if you push through. Hot is... Right, Megatronus replies, feeling nervous but confident. Before Megatronus could act, Orion Pax arrives to the scene with his friend Cliffjumper. Orion transforms and checks out the scene. Cliffjumper transforms behind him. Orion, you can't go in there! Your outer plating is not resistant enough! Orion stands confidently. I cannot let innocent bots fall offline. You stay here, Jumper. You get into enough predicaments as is. Orion spots a Cybertronian truck trailer and turns on its automagnet connect to pair with him. He then runs into the tower and summons his energy axe. The crowd outside waits patiently for a miracle to happen. Who was that? Megatronus almost angrily asks. I don't know. It was just some generic worker bot, Maximo replies. Megatronus walks up to the building, but the truck trailer begins to lift from the ground and fly up into the building. A few minutes later, Orion flies back out of the tower in his vehicle mode with the trailer attached to him. He lands on the ground below and detaches from the trailer. The trailer opens up to reveal everyone who got rescued from the tower. As the citizens joined the crowd, the tower began to fall over. Everyone, look out! Orion yelled. Now's your chance, Megatronus! Maximo yelled right after. Megatronus runs to the tower and shoots the base, only causing it to explode and collapse faster. Orion helps push the crowd away and notices a young bot in the way of the falling tower. Orion leaves his position to go save the bot, only to be trapped in the middle of the now fallen tower. Megatronus notices Orion and the young bot got trapped, and he runs to rescue them. But Orion was already a step ahead. He unburies himself from the rubble and reveals the rescued young bot. The crowd cheers for him, and other medic bots come to help him out from the fallen tower. One medic bot tends to Orion and orders the others a stretcher. He turns back to Orion. "You are badly damaged, soldier," the medic bot says to him. "But have no fret. You'll be fine in our med bays." "Thank you, sir," Orion groans. "That's thank you, Ratchet, to you," the medic replies. "I don't go by sir." "Oh, sorry." "Thank you, Ratchet," Orion responds. "I should be thanking you. You are now a hero. I see good things coming our way. But first, let's get you repaired." Ratchet lightens the mood for Orion. Maximo rushes to Megatronus and lifts him from some rubble. "How'd I do?" Megatronus asks. Maximo drags Megatronus free. "You did great. You stopped most of the fire." Megatronus tries to look at the flame still engulfing the tower's rubble, but Maximo tilts his head back towards him. Maximo transforms around Megatronus and takes him back to the Civil Council Hall. Chapter 1.2 Orion Pax and the Autobot Scouts. Many stellar cycles have passed since the fire. Orion Pax has been repaired, and Megatronus took an internship under commando of Maximo. The Civil Council talks a lot about Orion's heroic efforts, and they call him to their hall to offer him an important task. A true test to see if he's worthy of being a prime. Orion is brought forth before the council. All 11 primes look down upon him, and Prima begins to speak. "Orion Pax! Just a decacycle ago, you showed the most bravery I've ever seen come out of a processor such as yours. The primes and I believe that you are deserving of seeing a seat with us up at the council. But you must perform a task for us." Orion kneels down before Prima. "Tell me, great Prima, how should I serve you?" Alpha Prime stands up and holds up a hollow paper. "We believe there to be an Energon bootlegging ring down south of Kaon. A gang called the Seekers, led by a rogue bot labeling himself as Star. We need a bot of high intelligence and nobility to go down and investigate." "But you won't go alone, Orion." Prima presses a button on his desk, and it opens a corridor door. "You will be joined by a team of Autobot Scouts, all selected from our elite guard training camps." Prima stands up from his seat. The corridor reveals 4 bots standing in the doorway. They all walk in as Prima introduces them. "These bots will accompany you, and it is your job to lead them in this investigation. We've assigned you with Battle Scout B-127, your medic Ratchet, self-proclaimed Cyber Ninja Prowl, and your heavy Bulk H-34D. But you can call him Bulk." Orion waves at the other bots. "How should I lead the investigation?" Prima sits back down. "That is for you to figure out on your own. You will decide how to lead your team. You conduct the investigation. It is not of importance high enough for the Civil Council to worry about." Maximo stands up. "It's more of my problem. I take care of the capital business for Kaon. Shouldn't I send in our intern as well? It would be a great learning experience for him." "Sit back down, Max. This is for Orion to figure out on his own." Prima snaps at Maximo. "Now transform, Orion, and lead your team. We will be in support and in close contact." Prima points out to the main hall. Orion salutes. "I will not let you down, Master Prime." Orion and his new team all transform and roll out. As the team drives through Cybertron's inter-province highways, they converse to each other and get to know the team they are a part of. "So," B-127 begins, "this is exciting, huh?" Ratchet's lights flicker as he realizes who B-127 is. "Hey, wait an astro second, I know you. You're that yellow kid who smacked me right on my side in that intersection, right off Iacon Highway. You gave me a nasty bump and just rode away, you little short circuit. Ratchet transforms and stops B-127 in his tracks. Hey, what gives? We're trying to go somewhere. B-127 transforms. Oh, you, uh-oh. Ratchet grabs B-127 by a wheel on his shoulder and lifts him up. You mess with my metal during this mission and I'll make sure a cup on yours is my next objective! Orion stops and turns around to face Ratchet and B-127. Bulk and Prowl break behind them. Wait, Ratchet. I remember you. You repaired me from the tower fall. Orion transforms and puts his hand on Ratchet's shoulder. Yeah, so? Ratchet shakes Orion's hand off of him. I feel like we have an important task that's more relevant than what you wish to do to our scout friend here. Why don't we keep our little guy functional for now? So we can get through this, and then you two sort out what you need to afterwards. I really meant no harm, B-127 explains. I'm sorry, Ratchet, really. I'm a little speed con sometimes, you know? I can't help it. I joined the guard camps to better myself, so if you just give me a chance to prove I changed, Oh, quiet your little vocal modules! Ratchet lets go of B-127 and throws him onto the ground. He turns to Orion and gets up in his face. I didn't sign up to be here, you hear? They told me I repaired you better than any other bot that would know how to put two screws together with their optics shut off. And what I did was an accident. You nearly went offline, soldier, and I saved you from scrap. But I didn't mean to. I didn't ask to be forced into this mess just to be your little bodyguard. Wow, that's cold, B-127 comments. There are other bots who need my attention more than you do. Ratchet walks up to B-127 intimidatingly. Do you know how many bots nearly went offline from that fire? Do you know how many actually did? They need me more than you do. Best bot for the job, and you know what they did? They sent me out here. Prowl transforms and walks up to Ratchet. They had a good reason to send you out here. Ratchet, if I may, you already set up so many bots for repair. The Council has seen this, and they wish to send you into a task that could require your quick processing and skills to repair during a potential battle. I visited my friend Bluestreak at the medbay earlier today, and I saw the fire victims. The other medics got them under control because you repaired them good enough that they no longer require your professional talents. I believe you should be grateful that you are able to test the limits of what you can do, and where you can perform your best work. Ratchet grunts, feeling reassured. All right, I'm sorry. You're right. I just care so much about those poor bots over there. I know you do. The Civil Council knows you do. Orion puts his hand back on Ratchet's shoulder. That's why they chose you. Suddenly, Bulk transforms and points to the sky. Hey team, I think I just spotted one of those Seeker guys. Orion spots the Seeker in the sky and watches its path. You're right. Otto, what did you guys say you were, Scouts? I'm the most scout here, but sure, B-127 responds. Auto Scouts, transform and pursue! Orion shouts, pointing to the direction the Seeker is heading. The team transforms and rides as fast as they can, taking the nearest exit to get on Kaon Highway. The team of scouts roll through Kaon and find an old warehouse where the Seeker they followed lands in front of and walks through the front door. The scouts observe from a safe distance. Orion transforms and kneels down. I'm assuming that's where the bootlegging operation occurs, he guesses. B-127 transforms and kneels next to Orion. How do you know we followed the right bot? Cyberjets are common all over the planet. Because this little flying prism had colors I haven't seen on any bot anywhere else. They had a triangular symbol on their wings. Must be their gang's crest. Orion explains his observations. Prowl transforms I got a close look at it. It looks like the mask of Maximo Prime.
Huh? I never knew Maximo had a whole cult. Do bots really worship the primes like that?
B-127 wonders. No, Prowl replies. The only time we see a symbol dedicated to a prime is that of the Autobots, the symbol that marks us with the mask of Prime. It's as if these seekers are dedicating themselves to Maximo instead. Bulk transforms and loudly asks,
So what do we do now?
Shh! Ratchet shushes Bulk and transforms as well.
You want to investigate or be the investigation?
Hey, what's that? Orion ducks behind a metal rock and watches as Maximo flies in and lands near the warehouse. It's Maximo. Prowl seems unsurprised.
Well, what is going on here?
B-127 ducks behind Orion.
We might possibly have been set up,
Ratchet infers. I wouldn't count on it. At least not by the other primes, Orion comments. Prowl zooms his optic sensors to get a closer look. He watches Maximo let Megatronus out from his vehicle mode before he transforms and kneels down in front of Megatronus. Listen, Maximo tells him, these guys are not to be messed with. It's a cartel, not some happy smugglers. They will destroy you if they can, and don't worry about their marks. They may look like a symbol of my mask, but I do not condone what they really stand for.
Well, what about that scout team?
Megatronus asks. It's as I told you. Maximo puts his hand on Megatronus' shoulder. You join them and take the lead. Prowl watches Megatronus run off to hide as Maximo goes over to knock on the side of the warehouse. Maximo transforms and flies away. A couple of seekers open the warehouse door and walk out to check the scene.
I don't like the look of this.
B-127 stands up.
What do we do?
We go in. Orion stands up as well, but in more confidence. But we gotta be silent and aware of our surroundings. Prowl jumps up and quietly lands in front of Orion. That sounds to be in my area of expertise. Yes, but we must go at it together. Orion turns around to face the other bots. Well, okay, maybe we need a more thought out way of doing this. It'll need some teamwork on many sides. Orion processes for a while. Ratchet, you stay here, and if a battle occurs, you rush in to help drag any of us out of trouble.
Who will protect Ratchet? He's just a medic bot.
B-127 realizes. That's what Bulk here's for. You can't go in silently due to your large build-in size. You stay in bodyguard Ratchet once he charges in to help. Well, that is if he needs to. You can serve as backup too. Bulk salutes to Orion. Orion turns to Prowl. Prowl, you and I will figure out a way to get in undetected. It should just be me, Orion. I can check out the operation inside without being seen and let you know of the situation. You're right. It's best if I stay outside and stand guard. I can send B-127 here to...
Actually, it's B-127.
B-127 interrupts. No, it's not.
Your name is B-127,
Ratchet annoyingly replies.
Oh, actually I like that more. Fine, call me B.
B happily responds. Okay, B. You will knock on that door a couple astroseconds after those seekers head back inside. You tell them you want their goods, Orion orders.
You want me to talk to them directly?
B exclaims.
Do I look like I'd want some of their bootleg energon?
No, but it's suspicious enough to get most of those seekers' attention to you, as Orion and I sneak inside. Prowl crosses his arms.
What if they just attack me? Boom! Blown to bits! No questions asked.
B loudly worries.
They won't do that,
Ratchet scolds B.
You saw how Maximo dropped off his own little soldier. I assume they're gonna send him in to take over the operation and try and do a good deed so they can get him a proper seat with the primes.
Prowl folds his arms and walks up to check the area again, watching the seekers still searching the warehouse's exterior. Maximo has something to do with this, he says. He purposefully planted that bot to interrupt our mission. B runs up to Prowl to see what he's looking at, as if what Prowl is seeing determines what he concluded.
So it's a setup? Are we being set up by Maximo?
B gets frantic.
How do we plan around that?
Calm down, B.
Orion snaps. We'll go with our current plan and see what happens.
Autobot Scouts, go!
Prowl transforms and rides over to the warehouse, unspotted by the Seekers returning to the warehouse. Orion notices a red Seeker fly out from the top of the warehouse, and he begins to follow behind Prowl.
You're up, B. Work your charm.
Ratchet urges him.
You got this, little buddy.
Bulk reassures.
Okay, I got this.
B transforms and rides over to the warehouse door. He transforms and knocks. A Seeker opens the door and holds B at blaster point.
State your business, scrapball!
He threatens.
Right, hi. I was told you may have some...
B looks around as if checking for trouble or any other bot listening in.
Product? Yeah. Some of that sweet extra kick energon you guys make, you know?
Who told you that?
The Seeker demands, inching his blaster closer to B. While B nervously speaks to the Seeker, Prowl heads into the warehouse through the roof. He finds a big open area and looks through. He puts his finger on his comlink and connects to Orion. You were right, Pax. There's a large opening on the roof. Any bot can fly in and out, but the ground level is guarded. As suspected. We need to wait for B to cause a distraction, Orion responds. Let us hope he knows how, Prowl replies.
So what you're saying,
the Seeker continues,
is you were told by a back alley con named Jess Pickin where we were, and that they could get you some product.
It was just Pinkbot, actually.
B corrects. The Seeker turns around from the door.
Hey! Do we know any Jess Pinkbots?
From Prowl's point of view, the many Seekers he watches from above begin to walk towards the door. Coast is getting clear. We can get inside in 10 extra seconds, Prowl relays to Orion. Copy that. Orion climbs to the roof of the warehouse and joins Prowl. What else do you see? Their energon supply looks darker than normal energon. My infrared readings indicate them to be unstable and dangerous if mishandled. Got it. On my mark, we fall in and attack, but only aim for their weapons. Orion orders Prowl. You don't want to harm the Seekers? They could have a large advantage over us, Prowl questions. Not every bot is worthy to stay online. But no bot deserves to go offline, Orion tells Prowl. I see where you're coming from, Prowl answers. But some harm would have to come to them if we wish to take advantage and contain them. Orion processes. You may be right. Just make sure they don't get shut off. Prowl nods and moves on into the building. He swiftly lands on the ground.
So who are you anyway?
B asks the Seeker.
You look like a tough bot. You must do good in this business.
The name's Thundercracker,
the Seeker replies.
The strongest Seeker on this side of Cybertron.
B laughs and tries to hide his sniggering.
Oh, I'm sorry. What?
Thundercracker lifts his blaster again right into B's face. Prowl looks up at Orion and nods again for him to jump down and join him. Orion drops down and lands loudly next to Prowl. The Seekers turn around and assess the two scouts in their base.
Autobots!
Thundercracker yells.
They found us! Destroy them!
The Seekers begin shooting towards Orion and Prowl. Orion takes a couple hits, but Prowl evades every shot taken at him. Prowl speeds towards the Seekers and prepares to attack before a large explosion opens up a wall on the side of the warehouse. Through the hole in the wall steps Megatronus. He grabs a Seeker by his neck and throws him into the ground. Megatronus aims his cannon right up to his face and shoots right through his whole head.
He killed Skyquake!
Thundercracker yells. The Seekers stop their attack. Megatronus steps on Skyquake's body, crushing a hole into his torso. Orion steps back, appalled by the horror. Megatronus turns to Orion and Prowl.
Autobot Scouts, I've come to save you,
He triumphantly announces.
Follow my lead. Go grab a sample of their energon, and I will take care of these Seekers.
What?
Who sent you?
Orion stomps in anger. Megatronus walks towards the group of Seekers and raises his cannon.
I sent myself.
Orion runs in and pushes Megatronus' arm to the side, causing him to blast another hole in the warehouse wall, this time damaging its structural integrity.
What are you doing?
Megatronus yells.
Don't hurt them,
Orion screams back.
We're here to capture them, not destroy them. Let me have this, puny Pax.
Megatronus shakes Orion off and pushes him to the side.
You already took one opportunity away from me. I won't let you take away this one.
With one swift shot, Megatronus blasts Orion's left arm clean off his body, leaving behind a critical wound in the side of his torso.
Orion!
Prowl and Bee both yell and go for Megatronus. Prowl jumps onto his head and covers his optic sensors as Bee repeatedly kicks his leg. Meanwhile, after hearing the two shots and the screaming of Orion's agony, Ratchet gets up from sitting and waiting and alertly looks towards the warehouse.
What in Vector Sigma is going on over there? I don't know, but it sounded bad,
Bulk answers.
They might need our help. Come on, big guy.
Ratchet transforms and heads off to the warehouse. Megatronus shakes Prowl off and kicks Bee away. All the Seekers begin shooting at Megatronus, but the warehouse begins to collapse.
Back off!
Orion yells to the Seekers.
If I didn't know any better, I'd assume you work for these Seekers, Pax.
Megatronus turns back to Orion. He picks him up by his head. The Seekers stop shooting at Megatronus as their weapons have no effect. No. Prowl stands bravely in front of Megatronus. None of us do. Maximo is using you.
Wrong.
Megatronus throws Orion back down.
Maximo presented me with an opportunity to prove myself worthy of being a Prime. I am a Prime because I could have stopped that fire and saved those bots if you worthless and weak little bots didn't get in my way.
Megatronus stomps on Orion and begins to crush his body.
Bro!
Orion looks up to Prowl as Megatronus' foot presses further into him, slowly destroying him. Pax! Prowl worries, afraid to try something to save Orion. Megatronus looks to the Seekers and points his cannon towards them. The Seekers retreat, transform, and fly away. The warehouse continues to crumble. Part of the building hits the stock of bootleg energon, creating massive explosions in the warehouse. Bulk and Ratchet rush to the warehouse. Ratchet transforms and watches as Orion is slowly killed before him. Prowl stands back. Bee is hurt on the ground, and Megatronus is about ready to finish Orion off.
Orion!
Ratchet yells. He runs up and summons an energy saw. He swings at Megatronus, slitting his outer casing. Bulk runs up next to Ratchet and pushes him off Orion. Ratchet, I thought you didn't have weapons. Prowl slides over on his knees to Orion and attempts to drag him to safety.
They aren't battle grade!
Ratchet angrily replies as he steps back and lets Bulk throw his own punches at Megatronus.
Bro,
Orion weakly tries to speak.
His cannon. I detached the bolt when I pushed his arm to the side.
Stay down, Orion, Prowl tells him. You are in no condition to fight.
No, Prowl.
Orion points to Megatronus as he pummels Bulk in return and kicks Ratchet in the torso, shattering his glass.
You must do it.
Prowl stands up and rushes to Megatronus. He sees no easy way to touch his cannon.
You!
Prowl yells at him. Megatronus turns to Prowl after pushing Bulk down to the ground.
This was supposed to be my victory, my moment, my chance, and you Autobots ruined it. I am Megatronus! I am a prime!
You don't deserve a suffix such as us. Prowl gets into a battle-ready stance. Megatronus kicks Prowl away and shoots off his foot. He grabs Prowl's head and begins to crush it with his bare hand. All Prowl can see is his face as Megatronus lifts him up.
Then let it be known, from this day on, little bot, that I am Megatron!
Orion rushes in with his remaining arm, uses the last might of his strength to push Megatron's cannon right off his arm. Orion summons his axe and slices clean across Megatron's face, creating a large gash in his head. Megatron drops Prowl. All the Autobots rush in to push Megatron down, but Megatron stops his fall. He grabs hold of Orion and beats him mercilessly against the warehouse floor. With every hit, Megatron yells at Orion,
"You are nothing!"
Megatron pushes his foot right through Orion and shakes his body right off his leg. Megatron jumps into the ground, transforms into a cyber helicopter, and flies away through the fiery roof of the warehouse. Ratchet limps to Orion and turns him over.
"His vitals! He's in critical condition."
Ratchet opens up his spark chamber. B walks up weakened, holding his hand over his arm as it leaks his energon blood. His spark. It's fading! B notices Orion's colors fading. Prowl limps on his remaining foot. He saved my spark. Ratchet transforms, and has B and Bulk help Orion into Ratchet. The team of scouts all ride back to Iacon. Ratchet quickly gets Orion into the main medbay building. Orion's spark keeps slowly fading, his structure nearly completely destroyed. Another medbot walks up to Orion's medbay bed.
"Wheeljack!"
Ratchet exclaims.
"You gotta help him, I can't fix him alone."
Wheeljack examines Orion.
"He's better put out of his misery at this point, Ratchet. Please, he saved my friend's life. There must be something we can do."
Ratchet pleads.
"The only thing I can do is build him a new body."
Wheeljack processes how to keep Orion's spark lit.
"Then do it, Wheeljack! There's no time!"
Ratchet gets on his knees.
All right, keep your energon intact, Ratchet. I'll see what I can do."
Wheeljack walks back over to his station and opens a locker to reveal a new protoform. He looks at the empty protoform and sets it on a nearby table.
"We'll figure something out for you another time."
Wheeljack says to the protoform. He opens another locker and pulls out a helmet. Wheeljack takes a cart of supplies over to Orion's medbay bed, where Ratchet finishes getting Orion's spark in a stable condition. Ratchet notices the new helmet on Wheeljack's cart.
"That a new creation of yours?" "It was going to be a new armor set for my latest protoform,"
Wheeljack replies.
"But this bot's gonna need more than that form does."
Wheeljack lifts the helmet off the table.
"Take his shells off. All his hinges and external magno servos. He's gonna need to be reworked."
"Did you name that one too?" Ratchet points to the helmet.
"I name everything, Ratchet."
Wheeljack holds the helmet up to admire it.
"What's this one called?"
Chapter 1.3 Optimus. And that is where I will leave off in reading this. But I will leave you with a bonus. As I began to write Chapter 1.3, there are some gaps in the story, because there were some things up ahead that I know I wanted the story, so I wrote them early. There is a scene that I really admire in this chapter, and I will read it out to you. So here's your bonus. A seeker transforms and lands on the corner of a ledge.
"Who are you?"
He demands a name. Megatron turns to him.
"I am the Megatron. And you are?"
The seeker steps forward.
"They call me the Screaming Star." "What is it you seek, Star? Scream?"
Megatron asks.
"I seek someone to follow, and power to behold. Why do you come to me, Megatron?"
Starscream responds.
"I am putting together a team, the Deceptics. We strive for the power that these new Autobots have taken from us,"
Megatron explains.
"And you want to recruit me?"
Starscream asks.
I will recruit anyone willing to follow our cause. My cause. To get what we deserve.
And you need a leader? Because I can follow, but I can also lead.
Starscream leans in.
We already have a leader. And it's me.
How do you plan to lead, Megatron?
With confidence, power, discipline. We will gain what we want together. And I will take what is rightfully mine.
Starscream crouches down to the edge of the ledge he sits on.
That is not leadership, Megatron, but conquest that you speak of.
Megatron glares at Starscream.
I can make you a leader and a follower.
Do you know any other seekers like yourself?
Starscream sits upright.
I do.
Starscream stands up and paces around.
Ramjet is a good navigator. Skywarp, master of the airways. And then there's Thundercracker, the most powerful seeker in all of Cybertron. You know of Thundercracker?
Megatron asks with surprise.
I do.
Starscream answers simply.
I've been trying to recruit him for many cycles.
Megatron reflects.
I'll put in a good word for you.
Starscream crouches again.
How do you wish to title?
Title? Megatron responds, confused.
Every leader needs a title. God. Are you a god? Lord, king, monarch, tyrant, dictator.
Lord. I like the sound of that. Megatron smiles.
Then it is my pleasure from this cycle forth. Serve your likeness.
Starscream bows.
Lord Megatron.
Good to have you with me, Starscream.
Megatron grins.
What is our goal from this point onward, Lord Megatron?
Starscream spreads his arms in a plea for an answer.
To destroy,
Megatron replies,
obliterates the Autobots. I want to destroy the Autobots!
And that is where I will leave this reading. I really hope you enjoyed. If anything, at least got a fun laugh out of me doing voices for nearly an hour. Work on this story is pretty slow, but once I get a good hyperfixation for Transformers, I will keep on writing and I will produce these recordings and finish putting my fanfic out there as I go along. But this won't be the only story I put out. I will have others that I've shelved and never put out in the public that I will read out as demos, at least until I finish them. So stay tuned if that's something you're interested in. Most of these recordings will be posted or be found in the podcast tab of my YouTube channel. So if this content is something that you enjoy, that's where you'll find it. So thank you for listening. If you did through all of this, I know I'm not the best at multiple voices, but I thought I'd provide something fun to listen to. So I hope you got enjoyment out of it. Stay tuned for more. Thank you for watching and listening.